What's up, guys? Welcome to the second installment of Get Shredded. Today we're going to be working on deadlifts. So, first things first, I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not a pro trainer, coach, anything like that. I'm just some dude that likes to work out and lift for fun. I am trying to make this my career, though. I am studying, and I hopefully will have my personal trainer certification by the end of the year. If I don't, oh well. But anyway, I do actually a lot of research on this stuff, just in my own free time, but it's nothing structured, so I don't have any sort of actual qualifications other than I'm just a nerd. So do with that what you will. Anyway, I'm not here to tell you how to deadlift. I'm not here to tell you why you have sticking points or the problems with your deadlift or anything like that. I'm just here to kind of give you a quick tip for your conventional deadlift setup. First things first, if you don't know the difference between a conventional deadlift setup and a sumo deadlift setup, conventional is where you have your feet inside your hands and you're using more back and hamstrings a little bit. Sumo is where your feet are spread out more and you're pulling from the middle, and it's slightly more quad dominant exercise. You're moving the weight a little less distance. It's pretty popular thing they call sumo cheating and yada yada yada. But I don't know. There are some really good sumo deadlifters out there, and most people talking trash about it can't pull what they can, or even half what they can. So I'm not going to sit here and talk trash about it, but I do want to mention that this setup is not necessarily good for a sumo deadlift. It's primarily for your conventional, which if you're just starting out training, I think that's what you should start doing. And if you're only pulling sumo, this might be a good way to kind of help fix some aspect of your conventional deadlift. So let's get started. The things you're going to need today are just a bench or chair, something where you can kind of see your hips should be sitting about parallel with your knees. You know, a little lower, a little higher is fine, I think. The bench isn't the point. You need something to sit on that's relatively comfortable and that's going to allow you to pick up the bar. So the other thing you're going to need a bar. I just have a couple 45-pound bumper plates of mine to get the height. If you're just going to practice this with the bar, I would recommend that you start with the bar at the height you're going to be deadlifting from. If that makes sense. So if you're training at home and you just have the little 10-pound plates or those little 1-inch diameter bars, you're going to want something that elevates that about 9 inches off the floor, because you want to simulate pulling with your Olympic style plates and barbells and everything like that. And all those are 19 inches or whatever off the floor. So that's something to bear in mind. And yeah, let's get started. So anyway, so the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to walk up to the bar like you're going to sit your deadlift up normally, right? So for me, I walk in and I put my feet about so, right? You know, if this is the tip of my shoe, they're pointing about 35-45 degrees out, and I'm lining up the bar with, on my Chuck Taylors, with that second eyelet there. So it's like just beneath that first joint going out towards the toe, on your big toe. So some people it's going to be a little bit different. That's really for you to decide. The point is, you want to get to a point where when you bend down and pick up the bar, you're not pushing the bar away with your shins, and you're not leaving space in between the bar and your shins. Your shins should just come up and just barely touch the bar. Alan Thrall has a really good video on this deadlift setup. I highly recommend you check it out if you don't know what you're doing in this. If you do have a vague idea and you're still having a problem with like rounding back or something like that, then this might help. Hopefully it does. So anyway, first things first, you're just going to get set up on your bar like you would for a normal deadlift. And instead of bending down and picking up like you normally would, take a seat. So what I found with this is that when I sat down to do the deadlift, I would lean forward, grab the bar, and as I would kind of pick myself up and pull myself into position, I just kind of naturally got into a good position there. It's not, you know, when I first started, because I am a back dominant puller, my first inclination was to get set up, and you know, being a fairly decent setup like right here, but then my hips would shoot up because I'm trying to pull everything with my lower back, right? And I'm basically trying to do almost like a reverse good morning with the deadlift, right? And that's not something you want to do, and that's a problem that I see in my squat as well. You know, I have a tendency when I break down, I just kind of do that. You know, I'm not actually squatting the weight. And there's a lot of different reasons for that problem. I don't want to get into them here. You can do your own research for that, but suffice to say, it's a lot of advanced medical stuff that I am not knowledgeable enough to speak about well. That being said, let's continue. So, feet set up, right? Sit down, okay? And then we're just gonna lean forward and grab the bar as you normally would. The important thing is you don't want to roll the bar back because you should have a little bit of distance in between your shins and the bar itself. The thing I want you to do though is just kind of lean forward like you're actually going to start pulling and just get tension on the bar, okay? And you can see already that I'm in a pretty good start position. You know, my upper back isn't rounded, my lower back isn't rounded. I don't look like a scared cat when I'm deadlifting. My hips aren't higher than my shoulders. Nice and straight. Pretty textbook, right? Okay, so if your setup does not look like mine, that's okay. The things that you need to pay attention to are your hip placement, your thoracic and your thoracic spine, and any sort of lower back rounding. So there's a lot of debate on the internet whether thoracic rounding or upper back rounding, I think I'm using that right, are whether that's okay or not, whether it's healthy. I'll be completely honest. When I start getting up really above like 85% of my 1 rep max, my form kind of breaks down and I do start exhibiting some upper back rounding. I don't feel any pain. It's just kind of what my body does. It's not a bad deadlift position. One of my old training partners used to freak out every time she saw that because I was just telling her, oh, you need to keep straight back, keep straight back. It's not going to happen all the time. But the thing you don't want is you don't want that lower back rounding. That's how you're going to slip a disc, okay? We don't want that. We don't want you to overextend or injure yourself needlessly just trying to pick some weight up, okay? So straight back, and you want to keep your hips lower than your shoulders. So what I mean by that is as you're getting set up on the deadlift, your hips should be about here. You know, when I start getting heavier, I kind of do shoot up a little bit, so I'm more like that. But that's still fun. You can see they're still below my shoulders. I'm not doing a deficit pull like this where my shoulders are below my hip joints or anything like that, okay? Yeah, so the other thing I want to talk about is leverages and just body types. So I have fairly long arms, fairly long legs, and an ice short torso. So for deadlifting, it's pretty easy for me. For something like squats, not so much. I have to get my hips to travel a little bit further along the hinge, that is my knees, than someone with, you know, shorter quads or shorter thighs would have to do. So that's something to bear in mind. When you set up on a deadlift, it's gonna look a little bit different than mine. Your hips might be a little bit lower, they might be higher. Your feet might be a little wider, they might be more narrow, whatever the case may be. The things you just need to pay attention to are your hips, and you just need to make sure that your upper and your lower back are not rounded too much as you're starting to deadlift. If you're going for your 1 rep max, a little bit of upper back rounding, I'll try to demonstrate that here. So if you're coming up and your upper back kind of rounds a little bit like that, that's okay, honestly. it's not, you're not losing a whole lot of tension. Your lats are still engaged. You're still tight, right? The problem that a lot of people will run into is they'll have the upper back rounding, but then it just kind of continues on down the chain as they're pulling the weight up, and oh, this is gonna hurt. So upper back rounding, right? And then they just kind of keep doing this until like, and then they like bounce the weight up and everything like that. Your deadlift should not look like that at all. It should be one fluid motion, and it should be like some hitching at the top is okay, like strongman do it a lot. But you know, there's a difference between you going for your AMRAP set of 225 and these guys deadlifting 800-900 pounds for reps. So bear that in mind. But anyway, I hope this helps you guys. It helped me a lot. It kind of helped me understand my body's leverages and mechanics a little bit more. Oh, my cat's cleaning herself. Thank God she's black. And you can't see her against the bed because it's gross. But anyway, yeah, I hope this helps your setup. I hope this helps your technique. And I hope you guys had fun watching me make an idiot out of myself. Anyway, like, subscribe, all of that fun crap. And be tuned in next week. We're going to do another guitar lesson. A minor sweetback. Alright, guys.